The text message arrived at 11:47 on a rainy Thursday night, just as my life was beginning to feel like a hallway with no doors left to open. It came from my CEO for 3 years. I had worked at a financial consulting firm in Chicago, Illinois, under a woman named Margaret Whitaker. She was respected, brilliant, and intimidating in the way only truly successful people could be. She built a company worth millions, mentored dozens of young professionals, and somehow remembered the birthdays of every employee. The message was short. She wanted me to attend a blind date she had arranged. At first, I thought it was a joke. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories. I stared at the message for several minutes. At 32, I wasn't exactly excited about dating anymore. My previous engagement had ended 2 years earlier when my fiancée decided she wanted a completely different future. Since then, I had buried myself in work. My apartment felt empty. My weekends felt longer than they should. And although I rarely admitted it, loneliness had quietly become my closest companion. The next morning, Margaret approached my desk with a smile that immediately made me nervous. She explained that someone very important to her had recently moved back to Chicago, someone intelligent, kind, and deserving of happiness. She thought we might have a lot in common. I nearly refused. Dating arranged by your CEO sounded like a terrible idea, but something in her expression stopped me. For the first time since I had known her, she didn't look like a powerful executive. She looked like a mother. 2 days later, I found myself walking into an elegant restaurant overlooking the Chicago River. My palms were sweating. I had prepared for awkward conversations, uncomfortable silences, and a quick escape if things went badly. Nothing prepared me for what happened next. The woman who stood when I approached the table looked familiar. Not because I had met her before, because she looked remarkably like Margaret. The same gentle eyes, the same confident smile, the same calm presence. Her name was Rachel Whitaker, Margaret's daughter. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then we both laughed. Apparently, her mother had been equally mysterious with her. Neither of us knew the other person's identity before arriving. The awkwardness disappeared surprisingly fast. Rachel wasn't anything like the wealthy executive's daughter I had imagined. She wasn't interested in status or business achievements. She talked about community projects, public libraries, and the children's reading program she managed in a small neighborhood center. The more she spoke, the more I forgot I was on a blind date. It felt like reconnecting with someone I had known for years. Still, there was something behind her smile, a sadness she carefully carried. Over the next few weeks, we continued seeing each other. Coffee became dinners. Dinners became long walks along Lake Michigan. Gradually, Rachel shared her story. Several years earlier, she had lost her husband to a sudden illness. The grief had shattered her world. Afterward, she dedicated herself entirely to helping others, because it felt easier than facing her own pain. Listening to her changed something inside me. For so long, I had treated my own heartbreak as the end of my story. Rachel had experienced a loss far greater than mine, and still found ways to bring light into other people's lives. But our growing connection wasn't without challenges. I worried constantly. What if dating the CEO's daughter complicated my career? What if people thought I had hidden motives? What if I wasn't good enough for someone from her world? Those fears grew until they nearly destroyed everything. One afternoon, I requested a transfer to another department. I convinced myself it was the responsible choice. Distance would solve the problem. When Margaret learned about my request, she invited me to her office. The conversation that followed changed my life. She told me something I never expected. She hadn't arranged the blind date because she was trying to help her daughter find a husband. She arranged it because she had spent years watching two good people carry unnecessary loneliness. She believed both of us deserved another chance at happiness. Then, she said something that stayed with me forever. Success meant very little if the people you loved spent their lives afraid to be happy. For the first time, I realized my fears weren't protecting me. They were imprisoning me. I withdrew the transfer request. A month later, Rachel invited me to the community center where she worked. Hundreds of children and families attended an annual charity celebration she organized. As I watched her moving through the crowd, helping people, encouraging volunteers, and making every child feel important, I understood something profound. She wasn't extraordinary because of who her mother was. She was extraordinary because of who she chose to be. That evening, under strings of lights hanging above the courtyard, I told her how much she had changed my life. And for the first time in years, I stopped looking backward. I started looking forward. Before we reach the ending, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us, do you believe some people enter our lives exactly when we need them most? A year later, friends, co-workers, neighbors, and dozens of families from the community center gathered beside Lake Michigan on a warm summer afternoon. Rachel and I exchanged vows, surrounded by people who had become family. Margaret sat in the front row with tears in her eyes, not because she was a CEO, not because she had achieved professional success, but because she had witnessed something every parent hopes for. Her daughter had found happiness again, and so had I. Life didn't become perfect afterward. There were still difficult days, unexpected challenges, and moments of uncertainty, but we faced them together. Looking back now, I often think about that rainy Thursday night when a simple message appeared on my phone. At the time, it felt strange, almost ridiculous. Yet it became the beginning of everything. Sometimes the opportunity that changes your life doesn't arrive as a promotion, a lottery ticket, or a grand miracle. Sometimes it arrives as an unexpected invitation. And sometimes the person who believes in your future sees possibilities you can no longer see yourself. If this story touched your heart, please support the channel by liking the video, sharing it with someone you care about, and subscribing for more uplifting stories. Remember, second chances rarely arrive exactly how we expect them, but when they do, they can lead us to the life we were always meant to find.